Hi, and welcome to The Curling Show, the podcast that brings you interviews with the sport's top athletes and the people who shape the game. We're back after a forced hiatus to wrestle with a few technical challenges, with another interview brought to you by Fit to Curl, a sport-specific guide to training for the world's greatest game by 2010 Olympic gold medalist and 2011 GP Car and Home Players Champion and Team Martin third, John Morris, with some assistance from me, Dean Gemmell. Now that the season is wrapped for almost all of us, it's time to start getting yourself into the kind of shape that will really help you on the ice next season. The sooner you start to follow one of the many programs in Fit to Curl, the better off you'll be next fall. Get your copy at fittocurl.com or at your favorite pro shop or curling equipment supplier. He plays third on Team Jeff Stoughton, also known as the 2011 Men's World Curling Champions. Jon Mead, welcome back to The Curling Show.
Hey, Dean. Thanks very much. How are you?
You know, John, I think you're a record now. This is your 9th appearance on The Curling Show, which either means you're very accommodating or not much in demand. But I appreciate it.
It's definitely the latter.
You think the latter for sure, is it?
Yeah, no question.
Hey, you know, you're back at home finally after the epic journey, the World Championships, and then basically right after that, I guess you might have got home for a day or two, but then you're out to Grand Prairie for the GP Car and Home Players Championship. How is the re-entry going in Winnipeg and at home?
It's it's good. We're in a very fortunate position, and things are, certainly a little crazy and behind, and I don't know which side is up, but it's a great problem to have. We've had a fun few weeks, and we're enjoying the tiny little bit of fame that this has created for our lives, and just trying to have fun with it.
So you have a recent city honor, right? What's that all about?
From the city of Winnipeg?
Yes.
Yeah, our mayor, they have a couple of awards that they provide to teams that have achieved some success, and we got one for the winning the Brier, and then we got a special one from the mayor for winning the World Championships. And we had a chance to have a private little meeting with the mayor, and that's always a pretty special thing. Not too many people have that experience, so no, it was fun, and the mayor was extremely gracious about our team, and that was a neat moment for us.
You get some better garbage pickup in the future, or what?
No, but I was assured no more property taxes for the life of our curling team, and I just have to follow up on that and get it in writing.
Yeah, you can count on that.
Yeah.
That'll work for you, brother.
Yeah.
Hey, you were as fired up. Let's talk about the World Championships for a moment. You were as fired up on the ice, at least after games anyways, as I've ever seen you. And you said that it was an emotional journey for you, the whole event, for a number of reasons. But I think the big thing, you were playing for a lot of different people, weren't you?
Yeah, and that's really what it's all about, especially at this stage of our careers, is we've had so many people sacrifice on our behalf to give us another chance to get there. And I think it's just a big combination of things, a combination of looking back at a couple of opportunities where, I've been on teams that had a chance to play in World Championships and came up just a little bit short. And I know going back that if I did have a chance to do things differently, I would have done some things differently. And at the time it didn't sort of, not aware of maybe some things that I wasn't doing as well at the World Championship as we could have. And it was just, I wasn't interested in doing that again. I mean, if we lost putting our best effort out there, so be it, but I wanted to make sure it was our best effort. So, the combination of and it was close to home, right? We had so many people out there, friends and family, that were so vested in what was going on. You add that all up, it meant everything to us within our curling perspective to, I've never wanted to win in a curling event as much in my life as I did that World Championship for so many reasons. And when it was all said and done, and we were able to find a way to pull it off, there was a huge release.
What do you mean when you say, for people who may not follow the game as closely as others, what do you mean when you say you really wanted to make sure you put everything you had into it this time?
Well, there was a couple of unique situations. I mean, when we went to the Canadian Juniors in '86 and won, we didn't lose a game to a junior team all year, and that was back in the days where the Canadian team waited a year. And the next year we were an absolute shell of the team. We went out and we were done juniors, so we just played men's teams. We lost all of our confidence and went to the World Championships and basically came down the last rock in the final. And it's just hard knowing that it would have been nice to see what would have happened that year if we would have gone the same year. We were just such a better team. And then in 1999, I was just so new to it. I didn't know how to manage my time, all the requests, and started believing some of the press that, just going to win on merit, and just stopped doing the things that we had done, or that I had done so well during the Brier, and just didn't put the same kind of attention to detail in the Worlds, and those kind of things, I think, had an impact on us and myself not being at our best when it came down to the weekend. And again, we lost on last rock. So, it's nothing that I've ever regretted in the sense that, it was my best effort at the time, but I had a chance to learn from some mistakes that I made, and to really focus on the process that gave us the success at the Brier and repeat that. And it worked. There's no doubt in my mind that by doing the same kinds of things and really paying attention to detail, that it gave us our best chance to play well, and I thought we did play pretty well.
You did play awfully well. It was interesting to watch your team because you maybe weren't as sharp as you had been at the Brier during the early part of the week. And maybe you in particular, but certainly by the end of the midweek, you were back to the form we saw in the Brier, which was extraordinary and fun to watch.
Yeah, I will admit to being quite overwhelmed by the experience at the beginning. I had never walked out. I don't I know the crowd was amazing when we were in St. John's in 1999, but there was something about being in Regina in front of that many people that cared that much. And I had a hard time for the first couple of days getting my heart rate down and controlling my energy, and I was distracted. I mean, that's the bottom line, is that it was just a little bit tough for me to get my head around just the process again, and as a result, just a little bit off, and took a little bit of time to get caught up on the ice, and that's the difference, right? I mean, that's why teams go out sometimes the first time in an event like a Brier or something like that and struggle. It's just the distractions of being in such a different environment. And it's lucky that we were able to sneak through the first couple games and get some help from my teammates, and then was able to calm down. But I'll be honest, I've never ever been as nervous in a big game as my life in the first end of the World Final. And it normally those nerves go away in the practice, and it took a while, and it just a function of maybe caring too much at the time, but it is what it is, right? I mean, I'm a human, and my emotions were what they were, and did manage to get my head around it, and we were, again, fortunate to pull it off.
Hey, you got through it, right? And you were even honest enough to admit that you almost felt like you had to leave the ice late in the game to gather yourself.
Well, yeah, that sort of came out wrong. It wasn't so much late in the game; it was after the game. I didn't think I would be able to keep it together with all the family there, and the memories of my mom, being from there. It wasn't during the game. At no point during the game did I feel like I was going to have to leave. It's
a better story, though, John.
Yeah, well, for sure, yeah, but no, it was. But after the game, I thought that it would all come, just flooding out, because I've been holding so much of it back, for that week, and there was so much lead up to it, and but it was okay. It was surprisingly, good, and again, I think that's just because it was, we got it done, and
that helps.
A chance to enjoy it. Yeah.
Hey, you talked a lot about playing with Wayne Middaugh through this, actually your whole season this year, and particularly through the Brier and the Worlds. But we don't have a ton of time for this. But give me your thoughts on the differences between Wayne and Jeff.
Well, I think there's a lot more similarities than there are differences in terms of the talent level and the approach and the leadership of it. Jeff probably does it more as much by action and outcome, whereas Wayne's a little bit more verbal about these things. But they have the same sort of just rare kind of confidence and talent, and just jump on their shoulders and just give me a chance, guys, and that's how they play the game. And I think that what Wayne really did, though, is he's just such a more of aggressive player. And when I talk about Wayne, it's not limited to Wayne. It's also about the guys that I played with for a couple of years there, and John Epping and Scott Bailey, and then Tedley before that, and a little bit with Graham. I had always been, I think, a pretty conservative player in that I didn't always go out to try and make the best shot as much as don't stick my foot in it so that my skip doesn't have anything. And Wayne, really pointed out to me and those guys how there's an opportunity to not just make something good, but to make it great. and that had just not been something that was really, I think, top of mind in my curling career leading into it. And, so the combination of those guys just playing such a high-pressure game at such a high level, it exposed me to a style of curling that just, wasn't in my repertoire up until that point. So, when I got back to playing with Jeff, and not that we shy away from it, but I think we limit opportunities a bit more than a guy like Wayne does. So there are the odd ends where things that get a little bit simplified. Sorry, I got a bit of a cough here, Dean. The end result was, I'm never afraid now. I don't feel afraid to really try and make the shot as as best I could, and I couldn't say that before playing with him. I was more of a guy that just said, let's just try not to make a big mistake here, and so he expanded me. He made my the box that I live in a little bit bigger, and I think it translated into sort of the best of both worlds when I went back to playing Jeff, and I obviously have to credit him with that evolution of my game.
It's interesting to hear you say that because an insider rap on you and Jeff in the past had been you guys would go out and both play 95%, never miss, and somehow lose, right? And and now. Particularly this year, I mean, I seem to notice that you were a little more vocal maybe than you were, say, in 06, 07, those campaigns. And the way you've summed it up, to be honest, is what I've heard outsiders say about your team in the past, that you guys make everything, but maybe didn't win all the time.
Well, yeah, I think we went through stretches where there was more aggressive teams out there that, we did have to outplay them because we may not have always put quite as much pressure. And I'm not sure that I would have said that back at the end of it. I thought that in 05 and 06 when we were gearing up for the trials, I felt we were getting there. Jeff was certainly there. I'm not sure that I was entirely there, but I think Jeff was there, and in terms of that confidence level. But certainly I think in the early years, I was much more of a wallflower and just, happy to be there, right? I was just happy to be asked to be part of such a, fantastic team. And I do think that there is a different level there now where certainly the confidence I bring, I think, is more evident than it may have been in the past. And as a result, there's a different level of probably respect in what I say. But we're older too. I mean, and it's,
oh, you're old.
Winning, yeah, and things always look good on TV when you're winning, right? It's hard not to,
right.
Not too many teams look, like they don't get along when they do win too. So there's a whole bunch of factors. But yeah, I don't think that that's an unfair analysis in any, by anybody.
Nothing like winning for team chemistry and brilliant changes in their play, is there?
Oh yeah, it's just like nobody ever calls it a bad shot or a bad call when they make it, right?
Right.
It is there is a cause and effect there, but those things are usually the anomaly and not the consistency. So when when teams do go on runs, they're doing typically they're doing a lot of things right. Those things are not flukes. So I do think that this team did a ton of things right, and it paid off.
Hey, you were there in 1999 at the Worlds, of course, and then you're back 2011. Quite a gap. Compare the field from 99 to 2011. Maybe take Denmark out of the equation.
Yeah, well, and it's interesting because they did sort of stand out, but it was more they were an older team. But I'm incredibly impressed with the technical nature of how those teams throw and the game they call. They may lack a little bit of experience, but there was no team that you would. Back in '99, there was a couple teams, maybe half the field, where you knew you were going to get misses, and over again, and we would just load up shots to get that one big one where we'd crack a big end. And these guys play the game extremely well, and from top to bottom, and I think middle of the round robin, and because there was 4 or 5 teams in there that we really had no information on about, and you're just looking for these major, chinks in the armor, and there just weren't any. They all threw the rock extremely well. They've been taught extremely well, and they know how to play the game. And there's a lot of teams in that event that would win a few games and a number of games at a Brier, just because
right.
Technically they throw so well. And it's going to be interesting to see where some of these countries are. I mean, you look at what France pulled off. They gave a ton of games really good games to lots of good teams. So I was really impressed and surprised that it was that consistent from top to the bottom of the field.
Yeah, I mean, the fields are so much deeper now, and you don't have. I mean, I joke about Denmark, but I think I think they sort of probably had an unlikely win to get in there. But yeah, the fields are deeper, and it's it makes for a better event for others. I'm based down here in New Jersey, John. So give me your thoughts on the U.S. showing.
Yeah, Pete played a lot better. Those guys played a ton better than their record. I mean, I think they lost. I was talking to Joe one day, and I think they lost 4 games at least where they were tied up with Last Rock or in a similar position going in to last end or into the ninth end, and those are coin flips at best. Those are games where you expect to win a lot of them, and I think there was a shot against us that I think was in the ninth end that they might want to. They looked at it on tape. They might have done something a little bit differently. I mean, they played a phenomenal game against us, and we just found a way to find a chance to win the game, and we got fortunate to pull that one out. And they, you play that week again, and they easily could have been a team with no more than 3 losses, and it's an absolutely. They played so much better than their record. There's no question about it. But things go like that sometimes, and they just got on the wrong side of the inch on a lot of those games.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. I mean, I thought they were playing as well as I've seen them play as a team through that Continental Cup and our U.S. Nationals, and then they were sort of the wrong side of the inch all week. And
but I also think that is a reflection of the team. Nobody rolled over.
Right.
They knew what they were doing, and they competed. And in past years, Pete and the boys probably would have finished up with a better record just as a result of guys going, we did well enough to hang in that well against a really good team, and let's just fold the tents and be happy that we played close, and none of those guys out there did that.
Hey, you just came back from the GP Car and Home Players Championship, the last Grand Slam of the year. Tough, I imagine, to have much left in the tank for that, although I imagine you guys wanted to win that too and were playing hard.
Yeah.
I spoke to John Morris right before that event. He expressed some disappointment that a lot of teams had declined their entries into the Players Championship. What's your take on that?
Well, I understand it, and I do think it's something that has to be addressed in terms of format. You're going there, and especially with the evolution of Capital One Cup, the top teams who are in that are really going to be geared up to play, and a lot of teams, because of the way the provincials are set and it sort of dominates the second half, a lot of teams haven't played since early February.
That's a good point.
And they're going to go out and play us. We've played 30 games, in the last 3 weeks. Martin's team has played in Victoria. Glenn Howard's team played in Victoria. All of the top teams are gunned up for this event. So, do guys really want at that time of the year to, after not playing for 2 months and to be, 0-2 before they even know what happened and spend all that money? It's too. It's something that has always been an issue with that. It's an absolutely fantastic event, and we were aware of that. I mean, did we have time to go? Not really, but there was no part of any of us that wanted to be the World Championships and pull out of that event. Plus we wanted to play in it. We had lots to play for. So, hopefully they can find a way to do something about formats, and I believe it's been talked about, just to make it that much easier to get teams into it, and regardless of when they've been playing, and because it is a fantastic event, and Capital One does such a good job of rewarding the teams and giving them things to play for. It's it would be nice if it was an easier thing for more teams to get their head around playing in.
Yeah, I'm going to have Ian Cunningham on the show in the next few weeks, and I heard him talk during the broadcast about some format changes and everything else next year. I think it sounds promising, but it's just a shame because it is a great field even if those other teams don't show up. But it'd be nice to have everybody hungry to get in it. Hey, finally, you're 44. Jeff is what, 48? Is that right?
Is he 40? He might be still 47.
Yeah, he looks like he's about.
But he's in that.
He still looks like he's about 27. But
yeah.
I guess that's what happens when you don't touch the drink and you sleep well or something. Hey, but you're both playing, as well as you ever had. Do you feel physically well as the season ends? And I know it's early, but do you think you have enough left in you to go for another trials run?
Well, when we started this, the Olympic trials were not, officially on the table. I mean, they're out there, and then it gets, and then we win the province, and then it gets awarded to Winnipeg, and then we win the Brier, and now, we win the Worlds, and we have some different opportunities that we had, at our fingertips now, and, so it's way more on the radar than it was 6 months ago, that's for sure. Is it a guarantee? No, absolutely not. I think the only guarantee right now is that this team is going to, play together next year, enjoy some of the things that we get out of winning this year, and then also take it very seriously and do our best to get back to that Brier and defend that title. And I think this team's going to be very seriously committed to, doing all we can. But having said that, there's jobs and families, and at some point, we're going to, and also the recognition that there's probably going to be a bunch of teams gearing for the next Olympic trials that aren't going to have, jobs, and they're going to be young, and they're just, all they're going to do is work out and curl. And what are we going to have to sacrifice to be able to compete with those guys? Whether or not we are in a position to be able to really do that, because I don't think any one of us has any interest of going to an Olympic trials if we don't really think that we can compete with the best teams. So there's a lot to think about. It's way too fresh to consider to give that answer. And we may decide to play next year and see how that goes before we make that answer. But are we closer to doing that? Absolutely. Is it a guarantee? No, not today.
Hey, speaking of jobs, you've changed jobs, right? You've been the longtime guy at Mundetta, and now you're I guess a Winnipeg business pitchman, right? Is that what you're? Is it
it's a private organization that our mandate is to help facilitate job growth and economic investment in the private sector in Winnipeg, and we work on the behalf of private companies that have invested in our organization, with a little bit of support from the three levels of government, but. It's we have a pretty specific mandate in terms of the number of jobs that we have to help be involved in the creation or retention of in Winnipeg over the next 5 years, and I have a lot of catching up to do. I started January 4th, and I went in between the players and the Worlds for the day I was there. I went in for a couple hours just to make sure my name was still on my door.
Well, I mean, in some ways, you're a great. You're a great ambassador for Winnipeg too, so it's not a bad fit. So I'll tell them that anyways. If you want me,
I'll pass that on.
Pass that information along.
And no, I mean they've been unbelievably supportive and couldn't be more excited for me. And yeah, I've got a lot of work to do, but they are 100% on board with everything that our team has been able to do.
Well, I love Winnipeg, so I'll be a big proponent of it. So
all right, well move here, bring all your jobs with you, and I'll take credit for it.
I'm not moving. Yeah, all my jobs. Okay. Yeah, the massive team I have here, I'll move to Winnipeg. All right, John. As you know, we finish with a run back. I give you a topic, and you give me your thoughts in 1 to 3 words.
Okay.
Jeff Spinorama blank.
Timely.
Yeah, I liked it actually. I thought it was good. Norm Gould's 50-50 win in Regina.
Happy.
Did he come back with any of that money, or is it all gone?
Yeah, that was a group thing. We were all in.
Oh, nice.
So we all got a decent little cut out of it. It was great.
So you got all that Sport Canada funding, and then you got the 50-50 draw. Not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
Hey, Tom Brewster's perpetually knitted brow.
Misconception.
I know he's got that Scottish furrowed brow all the time. But how about his 16-year-old third?
Tommy's a good guy.
He is a good guy. He's a real good guy. I know that. But how about his 16-year-old third?
His 16-year-old third? Impressive.
He was, wasn't he?
Yeah, really was, especially in the final. I was almost too impressive for a while. I was like, come on, guys. Don't you know what you're playing in?
Yeah, he looks like he's 16, though, but I know he's not.
Yeah, no, good kid.
Kathy O's lineup for next season.
What is it?
Oh, geez, you're going to... Brianne Meakin, one of the Loader girls, and, somebody else young. She's got 3 young kids with her.
Okay. Well,
you like it.
Good honor. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, I can't believe I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I can. How about the closing of the grain exchange?
The closing? Oh, the closing
of the grain exchange.
Unfortunate evolution.
Right. You probably need to consolidate a little bit in Winnipeg.
No, and it's probably a pretty valuable piece of property for downtown too. So, things change. You don't have to like it, but life changes.
A couple team moves. Pat Simmons at third for Team Kevin Cooey.
Interesting. I think it'll be good for them. I think Pat needed it. Was due for a change. He's had a hard time, sort of lots of success, but just has a hard time breaking through that barrier. So hopefully it's good for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I think, he's certainly can be a one-man wrecking machine when he plays well, can't he? So
yeah, he's a good guy too.
Randy Furby's new team.
He's back with David, right? And
Ted Appelman and Brendan Melnick.
Crap. There they go again.
No chance.
Yeah,
they're done.
No. I just mean another one that we have to go and try and find a way to beat.
Oh,
not that they'll be crap. Oh God, that sounded awful. No. Are you kidding? I thought we were done with those guys.
Right. It's a good lineup. I like your crap answer better though. Really, we'll stoke that.
Don't edit this.
No, I won't edit it at all. I never do. A majority government or another minority?
Majority.
The World Seniors and World Mixed Doubles Championship now underway in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Really?
Exactly. That's what you have to look forward to, my friend, in 6 years.
Yeah,
You'll be playing seniors and no one will know.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's too bad, actually. There's some good teams and some good players there, but it's so late.
Actually, and that's not true. I did know about it because we ran into Hugh Milliken from Australia, who's a really good guy when we were out in Regina. So I was aware. I'd be lying if I said I'd really been following it, but I was aware that it was on. I couldn't have told you where it was, but
It is tough to follow. We played my team played the Russian senior guys, and they were here for a bit before they went out, I have to admit, as much of a curling nerd as I am, I haven't been following that much, but so there you go. Hey, John, great run this season. It was good to watch you guys. Enjoyed the whole thing, and as always, I give everybody a chance to name their sponsors. You got those window guys behind you, and anybody else?
Yeah, quickly, Geldwin Windows and Poly West. Out here, we have support from Performance Brushes, Granite Hills, Asham Curling Supplies, Mondetta, Skechers, there's a Canadian Sports Center in Manitoba. If I'm missing anybody, shoot me. But just a ton of support from great sponsors.
Well, you can add Sport Canada now too, right?
Yeah, we can now add Sport Canada.
Well, you could add them before, I think, but now they're really into you. So.
Well, you know what? Tim Hortons helped us out a little bit too during the World Championship, so I'd be remiss if I didn't include them.
All right, well, good for all them. Good for you guys. Enjoy the break and your family, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the ice next year.
Dean, thanks so much. Always a pleasure.
That's Jon Mead on The Curling Show, a conversation that we had just a few days after his team returned home from the GP Cairn Home Players Championship. Whether you hope to have a season like John just did or win your Sunday morning league next year, pick up a copy of Fit to Curl by John Morris and start following a training program. You can find the book at fittocurl.com and at Better Curling Pro Shops. As always, thanks for listening. Here's some pudding.
Don't you know it's hard for me to see things that I cannot find? How can I tell if it's a dream or just all in my mind?